Alright, so here we go. A bunch of news about Cyberpunk 2077. And yes, GTA Trilogy. It's in the news again for all the wrong reasons. So, first of all, we're going to start out with Cyberpunk 2077. We're going to be talking about a headline that is very surprising. And I don't think CD Projekt Red ever expected to be in this situation with this game on this day at all. However, it looks like really bad news, but it could actually be legit good news in the long term. I'll explain right now. So check out the headline right here. It goes on to say this: Cyberpunk drops to just $10 for Black Friday if you can play it on PS5 or Xbox Series X. Yes, do not get it if you're playing it on the base PS4 or the base Xbox. I don't recommend that at all, but yeah, you're good to go if you're going to be playing it on the Xbox Series X or PS5 or even PC. But this is such a substantial cut from the $60. And of course, yeah, it's for Black Friday, but I imagine CD Projekt Red would rather sell it for like $50 or like lowest $40 during a Black Friday sale. And yeah, of course, this price tag is pretty shocking for such a big AAA game. But in my opinion, there are some really worthwhile things in Cyberpunk 2077. The story, the characters, the actual Night City itself. While there's not much NPCs going around, it's something to experience for $10. Absolutely. Now, of course, from face value, this looks like really bad news. But the good news about this is that CD Projekt Red can really build an audience right now with this big sell and get people to download the game on their consoles to prep for the next gen update, and then of course expansion pack 1. So people will have, of course, the game on their console, their PC, what have you, their hard drives. Even if they don't finish the game, even if they give up on it, the likelihood of them revisiting the game during big updates is much higher, meaning the audience size increases, meaning that this game could potentially have a better second chance. That second wind that I think CD Projekt Red is hopefully counting on. But yeah, this deal right here is actually smart if what they are working on is actually worth checking out in the future. But you know, we'll have to wait and see if that's actually the case. Now, we also have some GTA Trilogy news. This kind of ties into Cyberpunk still, so bear with me here. Check it out right here. It says, the GTA Trilogy isn't the new Cyberpunk. The definitive edition, is worse. So yeah, this article comes from Forbes, and it talks about how the GTA Trilogy is so much worse than Cyberpunk. Let me know if you guys agree with this one. Now, interestingly, and just hear me out, there's actually some fun to be had in GTA Trilogy, like San Andreas. I've actually been having some fun despite, you know, if they could have pushed this way further. Look what Mafia did with its definitive editions. I mean, they went all in, basically made entirely new games. But anyway, here's what they had to say. Let me zoom this in for you all. It says, yesterday, Cyberpunk started trending on social media, and surprise, it wasn't because of any new updates to the game. Bummer. Rather, it was because people were comparing the disastrous launch of Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, the definitive edition, to the release of Cyberpunk, one of the biggest letdowns in gaming. And furthermore, we have this one right here. It says this: for me, that's actually an insult. Whoa. To Cyberpunk 2077, because what we're seeing with the GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition is worse. And I don't know if you guys have played the GTA Trilogy Edition or not, but let me know if you agree with this or not. What is being said here. It says Cyberpunk was attempting to make a sprawling, brand new, that's really important, brand new RPG and surpass the beloved Witcher 3, which of course it didn't. The GTA Definitive Edition was simply remastering a bunch of old games, a seemingly far easier task, and it still went so terribly wrong. You know, if they were legit really passionate about GTA Trilogy and remastering that properly, they would have studied what Mafia did and did that exact same thing. Like, absolutely made it gorgeous, made it into basically a next-gen experience of its own, but that's not what they did at all. All right, so let's keep going now. It says this: there's also the broadness of the poor performance to consider. Listen to this. Cyberpunk was a sliding scale. The PC version of the game actually ran and looked pretty great. Even at launch, Xbox Series X and PS5 playing up-converted last-gen versions were okay, but not amazing. Last-gen consoles, especially base PS4 and Xbox One, were quite bad, and that's where a lot of the controversy with this game lied. It says about GTA Definitive Edition, all the versions, all 6, PC, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch are all performing badly for most players. People have commented that somehow PS3 ran GTA 5 better than a PS5 is running GTA 3. How is that even happening? And the gameplay you're seeing in the background, by the way, is my gameplay on PS5. And it just kills me how much pop-ups there are. And there's these weird jitters. Like, the jitters are just completely inexcusable for what the graphics are here. I mean, there's no excuse. You know, I expect that they would optimize this game in the future, of course, hopefully. But I don't know. I feel like all hope is lost. Gosh dang it. Now we're going to keep going with the GTA Trilogy news here, because guess what? Pewdiepie had some things to say. It says this: Pewdiepie compares GTA Trilogy to Cyberpunk 2077. So let's see what one of the biggest YouTubers had to say. It says, in a recent video uploaded to his YouTube channel, Pewdiepie has given his thoughts on Grand Theft Auto Trilogy in his trademark way. The short video begins with him saying that's a terrible remaster, although he refers it to as a remake instead. He then goes through a number of screenshots and clips that have been sent to him, all of which point to some of the more disastrous elements of the trilogy, with the YouTube star laughing at what he's seeing. He even goes so far as to say that the game companies are all bad now. Furthermore, it says this right here: on top of the general mockery of the game, Pewdiepie then goes to compare it to Cyberpunk 2077 and its shaky release from last December, adding it's not about the title being sold, but about what hype companies are selling. You know, I think people are catching on to this big time. Guard your hype levels. That's all I have to say. You know, with Starfield, whatever, even if I'm reporting on it, you know, be careful with your hype levels. And my recommendation is just don't pre-order anything at this point at all. Now, it says some people may disagree that GTA Trilogy is comparable to Cyberpunk's launch, but it's understandable that many in the community would see how the two stacked up side by side, given the overall disappointment of both games. But the biggest question is, for me to you guys, is which one is more disappointing to you? Cyberpunk, which is of course brand new, or the GTA Trilogy Remaster? That's tough for me. I think for me, it would be Cyberpunk, because they were advertising that game for like 8 years. They originally announced it for 8 years, you know, and I don't know if people were really waiting around for a GTA Trilogy Remaster. It's a really cool idea. I think people are waiting around for GTA 6. So in that sentiment, I think for me personally, Cyberpunk definitely hit me hard in the feels, man, when it failed. But yeah, now it's time to go over your top comments. Remember, leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in the video. You never know. I love reading your comments. Even if it doesn't have like tons of upvotes, I still try to fit those in my video. So let's do this. Let's dive into my most recent video, which actually is this one right here. It says Cyberpunk 2077 is practically inside of Starfield. And then there was some Star Wars Battlefront 3 news as well, believe it or not. But yeah, look at this. It says Starfield has a planet where you can get high on fish. I kid you not. That's actually going to be a thing in the game. But yeah, I'm honestly very excited about Starfield. Of course, very guarded feelings about this all. But let's see what you guys had to say about this one. By the way, a correction on my Starfield video. It says Atlantis actually does not have multiple races of aliens. Atlantis is one of the cities in Starfield, but instead just humans. It's like multiple races of humans. So there's that correction for you all. Now we have Silver, who says this: I appreciate the fact that Starfield is giving me years to slowly upgrade my PC. And you're definitely going to want to upgrade your PC for sure. Nick C says, anyone expecting Starfield to be anything like No Man's Sky or Star Citizen is nuts. Honestly, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot like The Outer Worlds, just a lot bigger in scope with bigger, more open maps. I feel this is a realistic expectation, and anything beyond that would be a bonus, but not really a wise assumption. Yeah, I actually agree with that comment 100%. I think it's going to be a much bigger version of Outer Worlds, like a much, much bigger version of Outer Worlds. Just imagine like Outer Worlds, Skyrim had a baby, and it was Starfield. So that's what I'm thinking is going to be happening there. But mentioning Star Citizen, my God, you know, there's been so much going on related to that game. It's not been good news. a $400 million budget. That's nearly $500 million. It cost $250 some million to create GTA 5. That is an outrageous budget, and I'm not seeing it in the actual game at all. I'm sorry, it's not there. Where's the money going? Then we have David, who says, fun fact, getting high on fish isn't something that's only achievable in a false universe. Tell me more, David. Who says, the salami porgy is a fish you can eat that will make you hallucinate like LSD. It is still served in some French restaurants. Enjoy! It is a delicacy. King Mikolo says, the actual size and scope of Starfield is what I'm most interested in at this moment. I mean, if they have multiple planets, 5 to 7, or the areas you get to explore are even half the size of Skyrim map, that would be ridiculous. It would be absolutely amazing, man. Adam says, it still makes me laugh when people still think that Sony pulled Cyberpunk because of bugs. What a joke. That might be the excuse they put out there for PR, but at the end of the day, they pulled it because CD Projekt Red offered refunds and Sony got butthurt. Then he says they don't give two flying F's about the bugs. If they did, they would have to pull tons of games that are crap, unfinished, buggy, pieces of garbage, and clearly they are not doing that. The new GTA is a dumpster fire. I don't see Sony pulling that one off the platform. Wake up, people. Yeah, you know what? You're 100% right. There have been so many buggy games. I can't even count them on one hand. I'd have to be a mutant and have like 3 hands or 5. But anyway, yeah, there it is. The latest happenings around Cyberpunk. We talked about GTA Trilogy in this video as well. You know, there's some fun to be had in GTA Trilogy, but there it is. I'm gonna keep covering Cyberpunk for you all. And then Starfield is the next one that I really want to introduce to the channel as well, because who knows? Could actually be really good. Maybe it will be the Bethesda of old that we love. Because, you know, if it's like Skyrim, that would be amazing. Like, I hope it's like Skyrim, but in space. That's all we ask for. That's all we want. We'll see what happens. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Cyberpunk and open world gaming goodness, and I will see you all next time. Take care.